All right, it's 9:45 and I don't want to waste your guys' time. So, just in case we're still waiting on some more people, we'll kind of go ahead and get started. I do know that there's a variety of people that have joined us for Innovate 8, so I figured we should introduce ourselves first. So if you could in the chat, just say your name, what it is that you do, teacher, what you do for the district, and where you are housed, or if you're in another district, you guys get what I'm saying. Awesome. So we have a whole bunch of different levels here. Okay, so I'll remember that as I'm speaking. Well, to introduce myself, I am Kira Slater. I am a high school science teacher. I teach pre-AP biology and anatomy and physiology. I have taught on-level physics and pre-AP chemistry too, so I do kind of have a wider mindset when it comes to what I'm going to talk about today. Um, though elementary is not my wheelhouse, but I'll try and make it for you guys as well, okay? Megan Bruce, the DLC on here, has also helped me with collaborating on this, so she'll chime in here and there, especially if you guys have questions about the technology piece. But let's go ahead and get started. So today I am going to talk about personalized learning with digital badging. If you want a copy of this presentation, I did include the link up here for you guys. So I'll give you a second if you want to write that down or go to it and follow along. So my goal today for you guys is to help you create lessons that help promote personalized learning with technology. Those of you that are not in the classroom anymore, you can still use digital badges when you're running trainings with your staff members. So think of it that way if you're not actually using it with students. I also want to help you implement digital badges in your classroom or in your schools. So that's the field or the direction that I'm going with this. So when I have my badge program set up for my students, this is something that they would start off. This would be like their main page, their landing page. Um, and each badge would be listed for them that they could earn. So today you guys are going to earn badges. Now, if we were in a classroom, I would have you go in a self-paced model, but because we're kind of doing this virtually, I'm going to kind of lead you through it all the way till the end in a sense, and then you're going to get to create your own badge program at the end of this. So the first thing that we have been asked to talk about is what is a future ready learner? I know you guys have already been in a presentation and I don't know what they kind of went over. So I wanted you to go ahead and scan this QR code for me so I can kind of get a grasp at how much I need to go over this. So if y'all could scan that and answer the question on there. Which the question is when you get there is how comfortable are you with the profile of a future ready learner? But there's the QR code again if you need it. I'll give you all a couple of minutes to answer. All right, so it looks like for the most part, y'all are pretty comfortable with it. There's a couple people that aren't. So I will kind of briefly go over it just for those that aren't quite as comfortable. So a future ready learner, especially in Frisco, is where a teacher is going to make sure that they are helping students embrace challenges. Um, those students aren't just sitting filling out a worksheet every single day. They are actually looking at global problems and trying to solve them. And they can do this in a collaborative manner. Getting our students to collaborate more is beneficial for them. And that also doesn't mean just sitting there and working in a group, even though group work is great, but there's also times for them to collaborate, which is where they're actually solving a problem. Being innovative and thinking outside of the box and not just creating something that everyone else is creating. They are communicating, they are talking to outside experts, they're talking to their teachers, they're talking to each other. And then also contributing to global communities, which they can do when they're innovating and collaborating and embracing those challenges, and then responding respectfully to each other, giving feedback to their teacher, giving feedback to each other. That is really what a profile or what a future ready learner is. And that's with digital badging where I want to go. So if I was doing that with my students and we did a whole group discussion, I would say, all right, future ready learner, you have earned that badge. So let's talk about why. Why do we want to add digital badging? Well, I think I need to come from my core values first for you to really understand why I do digital badging in my classroom. I really believe that every student deserves a safe learning environment. And when you have an environment where there is a positive classroom culture, where students feel comfortable failing, where they feel comfortable coming and talking to and building relationships, digital badging will work. What am I trying to say? It'll flow really well. But if you don't have that classroom culture and you don't have those relationships, digital badging isn't going to work because the kids won't buy into it. I also believe that every learner deserves opportunities to experience failure and then growth. And students aren't going to be comfortable with failing if they feel like everything that you give them is a grade. They need to know that they have the ability to try something and to learn from it and grow. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is if they feel that the teacher's going to give them feedback and not just a grade every single time. And badges allows for that. Every learner deserves to learn by doing. Again, you can set up badges where they're doing stuff and not just sitting there and filling out a worksheet or just listening to a teacher. They're actually doing something in your classroom. They're creating something. They're innovating. They're trying to go through different challenges. I also believe that every learner deserves to have a voice and a choice in the classroom. And when I set up these programs, as you'll see later on, they are able to have a choice and a voice. They don't have to do every badge. They get a choice in which ones they want to pick. And then I also believe that every learner deserves to pursue their passions, which, for example, in anatomy, I get thrown all levels of kids, and not all of them want to be there. Some of them are there just because they need their 4th year of science in order to graduate. So say I have a kid that really wants to go on and be something in the business world. Well, I don't know much about business because I'm a science teacher, but I do know that in the medical field, there's a business side to it. There's the business side to the hospital. So I can implement those TEKS that I need to with that student, but have them create a business plan. Use what they've learned from their other business classes, and then they can earn a badge. And they're still learning what I need them to learn, but then they're passion driven. When we look at what badges are and why they are good for teachers in their classroom, is it helps them to set clear expectations of what learning should occur while giving the students choice in how they learn. I'm a big advocate of students having complete choice. It gets a lot more buy-in and it helps that classroom culture. I also believe that students are encouraged through engagement when they feel they have that choice, and then it drives their learning, and then the teacher can kind of take a step back and facilitate that learning. I also think that it helps recognize achievement. Students, it's just like when they play video games. They may not be able to get to that level, but once they do, they feel that awesome feeling of winning, or an athlete when they win that game. The badges also give them that same feeling, that dopamine release. And then it also teaches the future ready skills, especially if you, as the teacher or principal, are giving them different types of activities that help with those skills. And then it also models risk taking. They can fail without just getting that F. They actually can fail and then learn to grow. And I see I have some chats in here, so Just want to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Okay, so good. Awesome. Didn't miss anything. Thank you, Megan. All right, so at that point, we would earn the Y badge if we were going through this as students. So something else we've been asked to talk about is personalized learning, and badges help with personalized learning. So in Frisco, we are really trying to implement personalized learning to help bring in blended learning, having those offline and online activities. So with your badges, you can create online and offline activities for the students to have, and they can still earn a badge. So just to make sure I hit this home like I'm supposed to, personalized learning is tailoring learning from each student's strengths, needs, and interests, including enabling student voice and choice in what, how, when, and where they learn, to provide flexibility and supports to ensure high levels of learning for all students. When I create these badges and that we have these badge programs, you'll see when I talk about how I implement this, students completely have choice in what, how, when, and where they learn. So it creates that personalized environment for each and every single one of my students. And there's some more people in the chat. I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing anybody. So at this point, we've talked about the background story. I'm kind of going fast because I want to give you guys the ability to create your own. So before I move on to what is digital badging and how we do it, are there any questions so far? Just want to make sure that I'm not going too fast. Are we all good? We're good. Okay, just want to make sure. All right, so what is digital badging? So before I kind of talk about what it is, I have this video. It's just 3 minutes that kind of hones in all the different aspects of digital badging.
Learning today happens anywhere and everywhere. It happens in the classroom, on the job, in the community, and online. We can no longer think of learning in one way. Today's social and economic challenges require learning that engages students, keeps pace with technological change, teaches 21st century skills, and provides meaningful assessments of our learning. How do we recognize and value the way we learn today? What if we used badges? What is a badge? A badge is an online representation of a skill or achievement you've earned. They've been used in gaming and online spaces to motivate behavior, recognize achievement, and establish credibility. What if we used badges for learning? Badges could be created and issued by anyone: schools, online spaces, cultural and civic institutions, community and professional organizations, to represent a limitless set of skills, achievements, and knowledge. Badges could be earned by anyone completing programs or projects or demonstrating specific knowledge, skills, and abilities. Badges could be shared on websites or blogs, social media profiles, online portfolios, and resumes, leading to real opportunities like connecting with potential collaborators, earning school credit, or getting a job. But in order to give badges wide credibility and acceptance, a robust badge ecosystem needs to be developed. Much work has already been done in critical areas. Mozilla's Open Badges infrastructure provides the software and open technical standard for everyone to earn, issue, and display badges across various contexts. A growing community of badge experts has developed various models of badge systems for anyone to use and adapt. Significant research has been done to provide a base of evidence about the potential of badges. A campaign is underway enlisting employers, colleges and universities, urban school districts, and after-school programs to expand demand for and supply of badging opportunities. The promise is to ensure that badges give everyone recognition for the learning that happens anywhere and lets them share it in the places that matter. So what do badges mean for learning? Badges recognize learning as a lifelong pursuit. For youth, badges let us see that learning goes beyond classrooms. Skills like creativity and collaboration and passionate interests become as visible as subjects like math and science. Badges show our learning as more than a collection of test scores and grades, but as learning pathways rich with detail and information. This empowers students to guide their own learning, teachers to better engage students, and colleges to expand their admissions process. Badges continue into adulthood, recognizing the learning that happens in various jobs and in personal and professional development opportunities. Badges capture knowledge, skills, and accomplishments not found on resumes. This helps workers transfer learning across different industries, and employers find the unique talents and skill sets in demand. Badges cultivate critical values needed in learning today. They make learning more open, democratic, and transparent. They cultivate deeper and connected learning, where learning happens through sharing. They make learning more adaptable to change and open to innovation. Openness, sharing, innovation. These are the values needed in learning today.
All right, so I really love how that video kind of talks to you guys about all the different aspects of digital badging and all that it has to offer. So big takeaways for me were digital badging is a way to motivate students and promote a personalized learning environment and allows for that student-centered learning environment. It's definitely a way when you have all levels of kids to get them engaged. Your high-level kids that are always grade focused, this kind of takes that away from them, and that really helps them learn how to learn instead of playing school. Gets them to realize, okay, this is where I'm at and this is where I need to grow. It helps you as the teacher to push them if they need to be pushed, or to help intervene when they need to be, intervention is required for like those kids that they don't really like school, but probably the reason they don't like school is they're scared of failure, and it takes that away. And I love that about digital badging because it helps all levels of your kids. So it can fit in any type of classroom. So how did I do this? I started this last year. I'd been doing a blended classroom for a while, probably about 5 years now. I've been doing flipped and then station rotations, and I just felt like my kids needed something else. I've done playlist, I've done checklist, and probably not playlist exactly how they need to be done, but my interpretation. Of course, there's always room for growth, even for me as a teacher. And so this year I got with my digital learning coach, and I really wanted to try something new. The biggest thing that I've learned with all this blended learning stuff is you have to have classroom culture. If you don't have a classroom culture, none of this works, because it's student-centered, and the kids have to know how to learn, and then they have to know that you're going to be there for them and that you have certain expectations for them. I will say with digital badging, it's not something you want to start in the very, very beginning of the school year unless it's like a welcome activity, because it can be overwhelming to you and the kids if you don't quite know how to do it. At least that's from my experience. If you kind of start off slow, that's fine, because when you give kids too many choices, that may overwhelm them. It's just like with my 1-year-old. When I let her pick out her clothes, if I were to give her the whole closet of clothes, she's just going to start playing with the toys. She's not going to focus on those clothes. I have to pick like 3 outfits. Hey, which one do you really like? Same thing with this. So first, after I made sure I have that classroom culture, I chose a lesson or a unit that I wanted to implement this in, because I don't do it every single lesson or unit, because I feel like the kids need variety. So I may do a station rotation 1 unit. The next unit, I do a digital badging unit. So I chose activities that I used in the past, because in anatomy, I'm the only person on my campus that teaches that course. So I didn't want to overwhelm myself. So I chose stuff that I had. And then I got with Megan Bruce, our DLC, to kind of create some digital badging. And Megan, did you want to talk about the digital badging portion? Or the digital choice board, sorry.
Yeah, so for some of the activities, it was very clear, like we had, X, and it was very clear that it needed to be Y, if that makes sense. So it was on paper this way. It made complete sense for us to offer a digital option, one digital option. On other things, it was more of a show your understanding or show that you have mastered this concept. And so we really wanted to invoke that voice and choice with students. And so we made a couple of choice boards for the students to be able to pick from. So when we did the nervous system unit, on the activity portion, they could pick from a couple like activities that we had made just digital, or they could show what they had learned through one of these options here. So basically I just took, they could do the hands-on activities that Kira had, and so she has options for that as well. So those were just kind of the topics that she had. Or she could click any of these, and what these link to are just like how to do it. Sometimes we put that content right in there, or sometimes we linked it out to like how-to guides that I already had created. So if they wanted to use an avatar, for example, they could click on that. They could see that, oh, they could choose a telegami, or they could choose Chatterpix, and they could talk. And it kind of vocally or orally explained what they had mastered in this unit. Some of the others, and then obviously each of those they can either download or send a link to, and they just turned it into Canvas when they were done. This one is just another example of a choice board with some of the similar concepts or ideas that you saw a minute ago, and then some new ones too. So like TikTok's all the rage. So we told them if they wanted to make a TikTok type assignment to show what they had learned, they could do it that way. They could do a news report reporting about the nervous system. Anyway, they could change popular words to a song to explain a concept. So really just any of those just creative outlets for kids. And then we also made sure to still have that hands-on activity too, because just kids need differentiation.
So once we pretty much gathered all of those resources, we had our choice boards set up. We had to run this in the classroom. So my big thing that I took away from this year was collaboration, that I needed to add more collaborative pieces, but I'll talk about that later. And then feedback. So how did I do this? Well, as my students are working through, say they're working on the first topic, because they usually always start with the first topic. I would kind of just watch them. I'd walk around the room, take questions. And if I felt like a bunch of them were all asking the same questions, that's when I did whole group. Small group was more based off of formative assessments that I did throughout the unit. And if I felt like small group just really needed help with this topic, I pulled them aside during one of our work days. I also set up individual student conferences throughout this. And really, I actually had the students set them up. I used Calendly, and they could go on and say, okay, I want to show Miss Slater that I have earned this badge. And they'd set up a meeting with me, and we'd spend 5 minutes, and they'd have to prove to me that they earned that badge, however they wanted to do it. Or they could set up conferences like little mini tutorials during the class, or they used it for tutorials outside of class. So student management, how did I manage this day in and day out? I would always post a daily agenda. So say the nervous system is where I started. My first topic with the nervous system is pretty much introduction to the nervous system. So I would say, okay, so you need to start with introduction to the nervous system. You probably need to have notes, certain amount of activities, and your prove it's done by so-and-so date. And I'd have that on the classroom screen. I would let them know on that classroom screen also when our first skills check would be. And then my kids really liked stickers. They didn't want an actual digital badge. Now, I think year to year, my group may change. So I created like a paper checklist of all the different badges. And anytime they earned a badge, I gave them a sticker. But you can do this, can do that digitally using Canvas. We'll talk about that later. So they had that. And then I never told the students how many badges they had to earn, because when you tell them how many they have to earn, they are pretty much going to just do that many and then stop. And I didn't want that. And a lot of teachers will say, well, then they're not going to do much work at all, or how did you get them to actually do anything, because they may feel stuck. You'd be shocked. I had kids this first time I did it doing 89, 67 badges were like the top scores. They participate. They like really want to hone in on their learning. Now I had some kids only do 20, but they were able to grasp what they needed to learn from that 20. It just depends on what the kids need. They were able to self-pace it. And I did have to give a final due date. Obviously, there's always an end to every unit, but they knew that at the very beginning when that would be, so they could pace themselves throughout. So those that are slower processors could take their time. So I always made sure I provided immediate feedback throughout this process. That doesn't mean you have to grade everything. When I say 89 badges, that might freak you out. I'm not trying to do that. I didn't grade 89 pieces of work for one student. I would go insane. What I did is when they came up to me during class to prove to me that they had earned it, I only spent like 5 minutes and I could tell if they knew what they were talking about or not, and they would earn it. Now, in anatomy, I'm the only one that teaches this. So it's what I feel like is right for my students. In biology, I am on a team. So we had to get together and all say, this is what our final product should look like in order to earn the badge. You kind of need to be on the same page. Our students talk, especially on the campus. So if Miss Smith is taking badges for this activity while I'm expecting higher standards, my kids are going to be upset that Miss Smith's kids are earning more badges than them. They get competitive. So you need to make sure you're on the same page. And then you also need to make sure you have a plan for the assessment of knowledge. When I did the nervous system unit with my anatomy kids, it was 9 topics that I had to teach. And that's just based on the TEKS for that class. That's a lot for the kids to take a test on. I felt like through the process that I could tell where my students were mastery-wise, that I didn't have to give a test at the end. Overall, I took this as like one big project. And they were able to do really well because they could all earn a 100 if they really wanted to. So I was able to assess their knowledge through the process with feedback and giving them time for growth. But it's up to you. If you want to give a test, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. I see I have some stuff in the chat. I just want to. So could you confirm if you teach whole group first before allowing them to work on badge activities? I don't teach whole group first. My kids, since I'm flipped, I have videos. So when I actually run one of these, I have notes for every topic, activities for every topic, and prove-its for every single topic. So say it's intro to the nervous system. They would have notes that they complete. I give them like 5 options to complete their own notes. It could be a flipped video that I made. It could be a video that they find. And I have like a set of notes that I give them. So it's kind of a guided set of notes. So when they find their own video, they know kind of the topics that they need to hit home to be able to be successful. I think after this first time I did it, my kids asked for flashcards as an option. So I added flashcards. They also can create their own doodle notes. My kids loved doodle notes. And if I had Canvas still for my class, I would show you some samples. It is crazy the stuff that they drew for me to create their own notes. So I don't whole teach then. I let them create their own. Then they go on to activities. And I have probably like 10 plus different things that they could do to show that they're learning from their notes. And they get a choice in that. One kid may only have to do one activity. Some kids may need to do a few more to really hone in an understanding and a mastery of that topic. And then I made little like 5-10 question prove-its for each topic. So that way they could kind of get practice with multiple choice questions and testing themselves. And they could take those as many times as they want. A lot of them wanted to earn that 100. So they'd go back and make sure they earned that 100. Again, that comes back to your classroom culture and having those expectations for those kids. So great question, Sylvia. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Awesome. Okay, so let's move on. So I want you guys to create your own. I was trying to go through that because I wanted you guys to have about 30 minutes to create your own, because some of you may have never used Genially before. So I created a basic template for you guys. If you're not on this, I did add in a link right here so you could go to the template. You don't have to use my template. You can make your own. You can go on to Genially. Here is a video on, it's on YouTube. It's just called Genially in 4 minutes that you can watch. It will kind of go over the basics of how to use Genially if you've never used it. I'm not going to make all of you watch that. So you can go ahead and just pick a topic that you would like. If you're a principal, you could create a welcome activities that your teachers could use. The other thing I did provide for you, and I'll come back to this slide, is other resources for you guys that you can click on. It's just blogs and podcasts and articles where a lot of my information has come from, books that I've read, and then some websites for creating your own badges if you don't want to do stickers like I did, and my samples. So in the samples, I'll show you guys before you get started. Here's a unit I created for my pre-AP biology kids. It's over genetics. So they have their landing page here. So you guys can kind of visualize what I did. They would earn this scientist badge for meiosis once they've completed, for me, a video. So you can see I have 3 different types of notes that they can complete. Creating their own sketch notes, creating their own fill in the blank notes. And then here, this is a CK12. It integrates with Canvas. That goes through notes and a practice. Then they have different activities down here that they can complete. And all of it allows them to submit straight to Canvas. So I have a button here that'll take them to my Canvas course for them to submit. Once they've earned their notes, they've earned an activity from me, they can go take their Prove It. And if they feel like they need a more review, I did include a review video here. So this is kind of how I set it up.
Kira, do you mind if I pop in for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
So with digital badging, I think, you know, once you get the foundation that Kira has done such a good job of talking about today, it's really figuring out how you want to organize it, right? So for us, I'm a huge fan of Genially, and I feel like I've just like been a pusher on my campus and made everybody love it too. But maybe you don't like Genially. You can use Genially, and we started by using the templates, and then honestly now, like a lot of times I just start from scratch. So the first one that we made, Kira just kind of gave me the content, and I made the Genially itself, just to kind of get her started. And then we honestly just duplicated that Genially and then like modified for the next one. And then the next badge program we organized it a little bit different. And that one's the body system ones that we're going to show you in a second. And that one's actually my favorite that I use as an example with like anyone I'm talking about this. We have made our campus has a badge program, Lone Star does. And we kind of took that as like our base, and then we started making them for individual classes. So if you don't like Genially though, you could use Google Sites. You can use something as simple as Google Slides, just to kind of put in your content and then you link it out to the different pages. You can use a Google Doc. You can use Google Drawings, anything that you can put content and link it to somewhere else. So don't get overwhelmed with like everything that's on these pages, because you can really organize it however you want to. And then your DLC will be your best friend during this, because this is what we do. I worked with, like, Kira worked with me, and we worked with our librarian, and we made sure that, like, you know, we had some research to go in there, and we had the voice and choice with the tech stuff. So I just wanted to quickly say that, like, as far as like how you're organizing this and creating it, work with your DLC. And then if you don't like Genially, you can choose any platform that you want. So, sorry.
No, thank you, Megan. I think of it on the teacher aspect. I don't always think of it from the technology aspect. So thank you for that. Do you guys want to see more of my examples, or do you want to go ahead and get started on making your own? I don't want to go too fast. All right, okay. So I'll go ahead. We have like 25 minutes. So 20 minutes if you guys want to play around with Genially while Megan and I are here for any questions that you have. There is the bit.ly down here to the template I made. Again, it will not hurt my feelings if you don't use the template.
So the cool thing about Genially now, just in the last few months, they've enabled it where you can reuse a Genially. So if you create one and you can share it out, and then all you guys have to do at the very bottom where it says reuse is click that, and then you can edit it. So that's what Kira has made for you guys today. Kira, Daniela asked if if this is something that can be created and used on iPads for younger kids. I absolutely think so. What about you?
Yeah, I would definitely think so. I don't see why it couldn't be. Yes, I will post the link to the presentation. Megan, do you have it on hand to put it in the chat for them? I'll copy and paste it. Oh, she got it. Never mind. Megan got it for you guys.
It just took me a second, sorry.
No, you're fine.
So our goal today is for you guys to either reuse this template or choose one of their templates or kind of play with it. It doesn't have to be Genially. And then we want you guys to share it out on Twitter. If you guys have a Twitter and you want to tweet, I think that would be great. Use hashtag Innovate2020 and then hashtag FISD Learns. And then you don't have to tag us or anything if you don't want to. And just create and share. Does anyone have any more questions right now? Oh, Mindy, yes. So Mindy said she used Canva and Genially. That's what Kira and I used too. We definitely app smashed with both of those things. Oh, do you hear my kid?
Yeah, I hear Archer.
His cat sound is the saddest cat in the world. It's bow.
Sylvia, does it link easily? Do you mean like link into Canvas? Okay. Yes, it integrates straight into Canvas. So I would literally take my the front page of my Canvas board for my students and put it directly on the home page. So there was no questions about where they could find it. You just, if you go onto Canvas, like when you're in the, or Genially, when you're in the editor, where it says present, you can share and you'll click on share and you go to insert and you'll get that embed code right here. You have to use this top one and you can embed it straight into a page on Canvas. And your DLC can help you with that if you don't quite know how to do all that. And then the link isn't working, Amber. Here, I'll do this for you. The template, I'll put the straight into here, Amber. So all you have to do is click it. Let me know if that works for you, Amber. And then any templates or ideas you have seen for digital badging use for, what is ALG? Maybe, I just don't know what that is. Oh, algebra, sorry. Yes, you could definitely, I would say, use algebra. There's like math look, are you looking just for one that looks like math based? Or are you just talking about like, maybe this is more of a Megan question.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah. There are definitely.
Sorry about that. I was thinking something that might be catered more towards the design that might look math-ish or, I love this idea. I'm just not sure like what topics of a badge I would need, like how to just really start putting it all together.
Sure. So what we did with Kira is like she said, all right, here is the nervous system. Here are the TEKS that I have to cover. Here are the typical activities that I would do. And then what I did is I started looking for online, like how they could do it online instead of in the classroom on paper. And then we also gave them more activities. And so like with that body system one, I designed that one from scratch. And so you can, as far as like making it a math design, I mean, you can really do it any way you wanted to, as far as the design aspect. And then as activities, I mean, one might be to use, you know, either Google Drawings or Desmos Calculator and graph something and like explain your reasoning using, one of those avatars kind of thing. Like, how did you do it? How did you solve the problem? That kind of thing. Does that make sense? A couple years ago, in one of my, and I think it was either for, I can't remember if it was for algebra or geometry now. I think it was maybe geometry. But they had 5 word problems, and they were in groups of 2, and they had to solve the 5 word problems and then explain how they solved them using an avatar. So like if they had to work the math out, they took a picture of it and then used ChatterPix, which is, it's an app. And basically it allows you to draw a smiley face or a line on any picture, and then the picture kind of talks, so to speak. And so then they use their voice to explain how they worked out that problem. So you could have them do that kind of thing. I mean, Deck Toys, if anyone's ever heard of Deck Toys, that is one of my favorite websites now. One of my teachers actually told me about it, and they've got some really cool stuff for, all content areas already created, and it kind of gamifies the experience. So you could have even one of the activities be to complete the Deck Toy.
Awesome questions, guys. Megan, does Telegami still work?
Yeah, Telegami is great. That's when I was talking about that math example, a lot of the kids use Telegami. They really liked it.
I like Telegami. Last time I tried to use it, I couldn't get it to work. That's why I was curious if maybe they had gone kaput, or so I'll try it again.
Voki is another one of my favorites.
I did go to the last slide for you guys because some people are asking about tweeting, and we have the information for tweeting on there. And then there's a link for feedback and to the presentation if you need it.
Does anyone have any questions about like ideas to how to use the digital badges for Kira or me, or anything like that? Or maybe ideas that you're thinking of that you want to share with others that we can learn from each other?
Yes. Thank you, Amber. Don't forget I did provide you guys those resources. So if you need them. Thank you, Mindy. And please provide feedback too. This was the first time I've ever presented, so I want to grow as a presenter as well. So I think that's awesome, Sylvia, to use, and I bet Megan would agree that this doesn't have to be just used with students. You can use it with teachers. Megan set up for our entire campus a badge program. I know Frisco High School, I think the librarian said that they do that as well, and probably other schools too. So it doesn't have to be just with your students. Teachers get just as competitive with earning badges as our kids do. So if you use it with your teachers, I mean, that's where I stole the idea from. This wasn't my original idea. So.
I just shared the one that we did for Lone Star. And I shared that one with some DLCs. So I think there's several of our campuses that have very similar layouts. So Kira said earlier that she took the badge program and linked it directly to her Canvas. That way where it said like turn in here or submit here, the kids would click it and it would link directly to that Canvas assignment. If you are on a team and you're all doing this, so obviously when we made that body systems one for pre-AP biology, there were 3 teachers on there. So we could not link directly to the assignment. So ways around that is each teacher can reuse that same Genially and then link individually on their own pages. They can just link directly to Canvas and the kids can navigate from there. Kira, do you have any other ideas just to kind of get over that obstacle of how are we all using it? How do we directly link, that kind of thing?
I really think that was the only way that we figured out, is that you have to go in and it doesn't take long to change the links really quick and integrate it on your own Canvas. I think the hardest part is creating the individual assignments for everything. So if you do that on the master, so that only has to be done once, that saves a lot of time. So each assignment or each badge option that they're going to submit onto Canvas, creating the assignment on the master course for all those teachers, and then taking that onto each of your own, probably. Then you're going to have to each do your own links. I don't know if somebody else has a better idea, but that's the only way I've figured it out so far.
Meredith had a really good question. She said she's new to Genially and wanted to know if you had to have an EduPro account to reuse the templates. I am not sure. I have the master account.
Yeah, and I have the EduPro account.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So just to be clear, Genially is free if you want to use it. It's a great program. I just found myself using it on a daily basis. Like when I open up my Chrome, I have my email pinned, my calendar pinned, and I have Genially pinned because I use it every single day. Like it's something that I know I'm going to go in every day. So I went ahead and upgraded, but I'm not sure. Jennifer said she's having issues with the free account.
Don't campus DLCs can have?
We all share our logins.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I guess, I didn't think about that for this presentation. I'm sorry, guys.
If you used, did you use a template that was pro or did you use a template that was free? Let me go play with something really quick. You know what?
Yeah, there are several free ones that they can use.
So Sylvia asked if we had to purchase the upgrade yourself. So I went ahead and I bought it for myself, and I was letting my teachers use it. And because I was tweeting out so much, Gina Lee contacted me and gave me a free upgrade to the master plan. They were like, "Hey, you're using it. Great job. Would you like the master plan?" I was like, "Sure, sounds good." They sent me some stickers to pass out, and I get to use the master plan. But I was using the free one for quite a while, probably a year or so before I eventually upgraded. I don't know if it's an approved vendor on our vendor list. We could check into that. But our kids use the free ones. I have teachers using the free one. And if they do want to do something that they can't do with the free, they usually ask me, and I either make it for them or I give them my login.
I purchased it myself, Sylvia, but you don't have to. There's plenty of free stuff out there that you can. You want me to show you what it looks like when they submit for a digital badge? Yeah, of course. Okay, let me go to exit out of this. So I'll go to my body systems unit. So when my kids are ready to submit on Canvas for the badge, so say they did the video notes with the fill in the blank notes, they would click, oh, I don't think it's gonna be set up right now, is it, Megan? Because my Canvas isn't set up.
If you had
No,
it
inside of this,
you should be able to open it up still.
I'll go to my, where's my templates? One of my anatomy ones. That one probably should work. So structure of the nervous system. So this was their first one. They did notes first. When they were ready to submit, I had a button down here that said submit for badges, and it took them directly to the Canvas page, which is not going to be found anymore because my student Canvas isn't set up currently. How do I show is so it would
yeah, it typically links directly to that assignment. Why don't we, can you click on the, and show them, since you're screen sharing, the digital badge for Lone Star? Because that one should work.
Oh yeah, that one should work. Good idea. So if I'm in my Canvas page, my Canvas account.
Sylvia, you said, well, we need a Canvas page to set up to present to teachers. Is that what? So I've seen, like, I like to work within Canvas. I think it's great. And so we try to do everything through Canvas. Now, with other campuses, I've seen them link their badge programs to Google Forms, and then the kids or teachers submit that way. Does that answer your question?
All right, Emily, you wanted, so even though this isn't one I created, this is one Megan created. So here's, the teachers want to earn the certified educator. In order for them to submit, once they're done doing everything it says to do, they click on submit for badge, and it takes them straight to an assignment that's been set up in Canvas. And they just submit the assignment by clicking the button. Does that answer your question, Emily?
So if you really like this, you want to copy one of our templates, and you want to, like, you really like how the Canvas side is set up. Kira, do you mind showing them, like, on your end as a teacher, what it looks like? So like the anatomy nervous system, can you show them on your Canvas?
Oh, like the editor or Canvas you want?
Yeah.
Oh, like on Canvas side?
Yeah, how it would look. You can ask your DLC to import that over for you. I mean, I don't mind sharing stuff with other campuses, and I know Kira's super great about sharing stuff. We can import all of that over. So you can import all the entire module with everything in it. And that way you really don't have to do that hard work the first time.
So we basically went through, and for each topic, we put the topic name and then notes, activity, prove it. And then did that for every single topic. And then I would link this to the Genially.
So your Genially is just like the canvas that the kids see. It's just like a place for everything to be housed. And then where they turn it in, where you as a teacher can keep track in that Canvas gradebook to see who's done what, is where the Canvas part comes in. So it's really that's just their turn in or their Dropbox and an area or way for you guys to organize it.
It's not set up right now exactly, but here I would be able to see who's done what.
So someone said, if you don't do a hard copy with stickers, where do they house their badges? So like my teacher's one, I have a leaderboard, and it has their name and how many badges they've completed, kind of thing. You can have them
include on the resources for you guys creating your own badges. Megan used Awesome Table with Google Spreadsheets.
And that works.
Oh, sorry, Megan, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that works great. You can have them copy and paste this, their sticker or whatever to a Google Drawing, and they can keep up with it there, kind of like a digital cork board, so to speak. And you can even make a cork board looking type badge and push it out as a template or link it, and they can make a copy of it and then just put their keep up with it themselves. Now, if they're elementary and you want to keep up with it for them, you can just use a variety of ways to do that as far as digital goes.
You could also, I wonder if you could use Padlet to store, if you wanted to. Couldn't you use Padlet for something like that?
Padlet is great, but it's now you have to pay for it. So I like to
never mind.
Lino instead of Padlet. It's virtually the same thing, just not as pretty.
Got it.
But Padlet is awesome. I just wish it was free. You can get like 3 or 5 free, I think.
Do you want me to show them what the Lone Star looks like for the badge program?
Yeah.
Oh, I always do this.
I think I saw it there somewhere. But there we go.
I need to go to the side. So here's the leaderboard that she embedded it onto the badge program, and it's down here, and it shows how many everybody has from each year. And you can give them levels if you wanted to.
So our reward system for our badge program is like, if you get 5 badges, it's like the ranger level or I can't remember, maybe silver. And for that, you get a snack. Like we've set it up with our admin team because we not only just do tech stuff on our badge program, we do a lot of professional learning, book studies for our campus, power hours, which are just a lot of y'all call them job embedded trainings, short PD sessions that are 1 hour that we do before and after school. So we've kind of combined all of that into one large badge program. And so I worked with my librarian because she's a whiz with Excel. And so she set it up where we used some VLOOKUPs and stuff and created those where it auto populates what level they are and how many they have and stuff. And we are happy to share any and all of this with anybody.
Well, there's 1 minute left, so don't forget to provide feedback, and there's the link to our presentation, and don't forget to tweet out. And thank you guys.
In my session this morning, people hopped off when it was time, and then anyone who wanted to stay and ask a few questions while they had them, they did that. So if y'all want to do that, like we can stay here for a few more minutes.
Yep. I got plenty of time. You guys need anything?
Hey Megan, are y'all gonna add any new badges to your teacher program this year? Alyssa and I haven't even talked about it, but with our virtual learning.
Yeah, we are. So we're adding 3 badges for a blended learning course that we created for our campus. We're changing up some of our Canvas badges. So I usually work with our associate principal, and we kind of go back and forth, like we change our book studies up.